Good evening. It's Monday, which means it's time for Enterprise at 8. Yay!
Yay!
Come on. Bring it up.
Mrs. Phlox.
Wow, that was
is a lovely woman.
Lovely woman indeed. This is Live Long and Podcast Star Trek Enterprise Rewatch series. It's been about 20 years.
20 years?
You interrupt me all the time with that, but this time you didn't have a cue.
I was just a second behind.
Since tonight's episode, Stigma first aired, but we're just getting started here at Enterprise at 8. I'm Jody Simpson. Along with me is the man who you can bet is not here for coffee and donuts, Adam Woodward.
Hello, Jody.
Or as we are now calling you, Darth Woodward. And of course, Adam and I are joined by some awesome panelists. Tonight, joining us is Live Long and Podcast awesome producer, and the man who is and the man for who it's been a while since he was embarrassed by a Vulcan dignitary, Dave Mater.
Yeah, I'm not here for coffee and donuts. I'm here for the cobbler, Jody.
Try the cobbler.
You should
Chef
try the
outdid
cobbler.
himself.
Yeah, Chef always outdoes himself. Chef's amazing. Anyway, and of course, who could forget the man who believed Captain Archer defies everything our society stands for? Adam, or sorry, not Adam. Today it's going to be Kevin Millard.
Hello.
Apparently, I can't read today. Anyway, as I said, tonight's episode. Sorry for the shitty intro there. Tonight's episode is Stigma. This is the 39th episode of the series. This episode is about, well, in a shuttle pod performing. Whoa, that's not the right one. Why is that there? Wow, I'm reading the last one. Okay. Basically,
this is Stigma.
This is Stigma, not the one from yesterday or last week. Oh, wow. You know what the problem is? It's a holiday Monday, and I might have dabbled in some things.
Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day indeed. All right, so T'Pol's position on Enterprise is jeopardized when the Vulcans discover that she has contracted a mind-affecting disease. But meanwhile, the better of the two stories, I think, one of Phlox's wives comes aboard and expresses a romantic interest in Tucker, much to his discomfort.
Yep, that's what happened. Yep, that was.
That's what happened.
That's what happened in the episode. But
so you had basically two storylines. One was kind of silly, and one was kind of important for the time.
Yes. Yeah. Well, there is actually a reason why this episode was made. This was a contribution for something, which I'm sure Adam will get into later. But anyway, yes, this was an episode that actually got fast tracked. This isn't actually supposed to be in this production order, but this one got fast tracked for a reason. Anyway, I'll let Adam give you that and the fun facts later on.
Well, maybe that's important to tell now.
Exactly.
I don't know if we can wait.
All right, Adam, do you have that fun fact handy?
Well, I mean, the episode's strong undertones regarding HIV and sexual orientation are not coincidental. This was Star Trek Enterprise's contribution to the Viacom's HIV awareness campaign in early 2003.
There you go.
It was a good episode, though. Especially when you throw that link into it and remember what was happening back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? It's a good episode, I think. It's got quality. We're actually hitting a stretch of season 2 where the episodes actually are pretty good. Like the next week's episode is pretty awesome as well.
Davin's shouting out here for Archer, Jody.
Archer as well. He's always fighting 2 battles simultaneously. That's true.
This was one episode where I quite enjoyed Archer.
Yes, I actually sadly can admit the same thing. He was fine in this episode. There wasn't a lot of walking.
I gotta tell you, when he was beamed down to the planet, was waiting for the Vulcans, which we'll get to, Dave, I'm sure. He was sitting in a chair for all of 10 seconds, Kevin. And
yes. Whole 10 seconds.
Got up and started pacing.
Okay, I got one big note going into we'll go through like the stills and everything, but like there's 2 storylines, and I guess my question is, do these 2 storylines work together in this episode?
Yes, more than anything.
Why do you say so, Kevin?
Why? Because on the one storyline you've got this. By the way, this episode is great. This is peak Star Trek. This episode, it has something to say. On both sides. I
wasn't expecting that from you, Kevin.
And they
are high Enterprise praise from Kevin Millard.
Yeah, they are.
You got faith of the heart, you would say.
you've got the Vulcans, who are part of an orthodoxy, like almost a religious orthodoxy. There is one way to be a Vulcan, and anybody who's not that way can just go ahead and die from disease, which of course is the way that much of society and mostly all religions, at least the major ones, viewed homosexuality. And the second story is a world that is exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
It is a free, and like women are free and sexually free, and it is the other side of that coin, and that is why they're linked.
Yeah, Phlox is like, why aren't you being an adulterer? Like,
right. Well, is that why you joined Starfleet?
I thought you wanted to learn about new cultures. Isn't that why you joined Starfleet?
This is a great Phlox episode. I like it.
It was a great Phlox episode, but Tucker was good too. I mean, it was the perfect role for him. It couldn't be in anybody else.
Yeah.
The only thing I have to complain about this entire episode is that Mayweather is in it.
Mayweather had a good. He was talking about the sport.
It's the Kindies' favorite sport. They've got these Fargans. They're kind of like cows with humps, and they love melons.
It's such a unneeded scene. it was almost like contractually they had to have it in there.
I love that that Tucker comes in though, and the story ends. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Like Phlox isn't like, wait a minute, he's telling me this great story. It's like, what can I do for you? Bye.
Bye.
Clip goes on and on, but yeah, like there's like this whole thing, and you're just like, yeah, this doesn't matter. And Phlox, he's like, monkey in the middle. He's like, no.
The only thing I noticed about Archer in this episode is, and it's what so many people used to do to gay men, is ask them, why would you risk it? He asks her, why would you risk that?
Right. And she tells him, like,
instead of just the compassion, like, you have a disease, let's do something about it. He blames the victim, which was very popular and still is.
Right. He's just like, well, save your career is what he's concerned with. He's more concerned with like her particular life versus like the sort of the bigger thing about it.
But he does blame her for getting the disease in the first place.
Yes.
Why do we have an intro like this on Deep Space Nine?
About that scene though, Kevin, is the fact that when she brings it up, it's like he forgot about it. Oh yeah, I forgot about it. Do you remember that? Like, he was like, it wasn't top of mind. Like, that was a very traumatic experience for her. And if I remember, he was actually quite caring at that point. But it's like it never happened, and he had to be reminded of that incident before he would even get on board. So
So Sam wants to know why we don't have an intro like that for DS9. Short answer: I was the one that made this one, and I haven't made another one yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's
Jody's not on DS9.
He's not on DS9.
So I have no invested interest in that.
We have no. We're almost that. We're finishing season 5 tomorrow. We're finally.
Yeah, you guys are almost done anyway. What's the point?
We got 2 seasons left.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's not. It's not. It's like a year.
Maybe the next one we launch, I'll do an intro for.
But I've been waiting. I've been waiting for an episode like this whole season.
Right. Yes, and this stretch of season 2 I find is pretty good. The next week's episode is fun as well. It's fun in a different way, but it's fun.
Like I'm done with people peeing in their space suits and all that. Like, let's get some real stories going.
Yeah,
and there's lots of character development in this with T'Pol and Phlox and
and the fact that this was actually made for. This was the contribution for their HIV awareness campaign and all that. Even that, to me, I think this was done really well for what they could do in the Star Trek universe, right? Like, I think it ties in pretty nicely. So I don't know if this was a story they already had started and they just kind of ran forward with it, but
and I think there's layers to this. Like I said, like obviously the parallels with AIDS is it hits you in the face right away. It's simple. Yeah. But then you have this other society, and it really shows you the difference between orthodoxy and openness, and how they deal with that kind of stuff.
Do you like how the Denoblians they smell each other?
Yeah,
like that was disgusting.
Like, be open to their cultures, Kevin.
That made me uncomfortable. I don't know why.
I think that was the point, though. I think it was supposed to make you uncomfortable because it's supposed to be completely different than what we're used to, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, basically, it's almost like they're smelling each other's pheromones or something like that.
But it's good though when they do something like this. That's not focused on how we do things,
especially with the subject matter at hand. It's even more interesting that way. It's more intimate.
Archer's reaction is classic, and then
that's his best acting right there. Was that?
No, Archer was pretty good in this. Actually, he was.
Whoa! Where's the real Kevin? But anyway,
what I've learned here, Kevin's very fair.
That's true.
Yeah. And he does like that classic Star Trek episode that we won't speak of today.
Was anyone hoping that Trip was going to end up with Phlox's wife here?
I was. I wish I would have.
Absolutely.
It wouldn't be right for him to do so.
Even Archer seems to be cheering this on from
because
behind,
even though she's cool with it and Phlox is cool with it, it doesn't mean his values align with that.
So, sure.
Yeah, but he hasn't stopped.
Oh, the creepy smile! I love it.
That Denoblian smile.
That Denoblian creepy smile.
They're like the Joker. That's like their thing.
But I love when Phlox says only a fool would not sample the what was it? Only a fool would turn down a Denoblian female. Like,
yes. Yeah. He's like, what are you, stupid? Have at it.
Yeah.
She'll rock your world.
And like Phlox is in the two storylines. He has to be in this comedy, but he's also in this very serious storyline with T'Pol, right?
Well, and that's why I like this episode, because we get to see both sides of Phlox, right? Which is something we either usually get one or the other. We don't get both at the same time.
But just when we go to this conference on the planet, can we talk about the CGI here? Okay.
Now, I understand where you're going here, but you also have to remember this is 2003. High def TVs only did 720p max, right? So they would have the interlace mode, but this would probably look pretty decent on a broadcast HDR set. But today, no. It's especially
this is little like SimCity little characters here. These are not people.
But this is a great. This is better in a way than using miniatures, because when you see for instance, these two that are walking here between the two banners, that's the two Vulcans that are in the next room when we get to the next scene. And the transition between the two is actually pretty neat. But yeah, I agree with you. The animation is not great, but this is also a TV show, and they probably had to up the thing for this.
Yeah, you know what? Well. This was the only episode where I thought, or the only scene that I thought failed. Actually,
yes.
they can't make people walk. I've noticed.
No, not back then. Anyway, now it's a little bit better.
But... And they could update this. Like if they wanted to spring to update this now.
Do you think Star Trek Enterprise is the focus of Paramount right now? Because it's not.
I thought it looked good. I don't pay attention to such things. Like I'm not worried about whether it has to be especially bad.
Well, it establishes where they are, right? And I think that's good enough.
That works too. I like that part. So yeah, Phlox is like, hey, I'm gonna know about this Denoblian guy's disease. Like he's trying to be all Mr. Undercover.
Yeah, and he's doing a terrible job with it.
So again, don't you guys find everything I liked about Vulcans after this Enterprise is now these guys are dicks.
Well, and you have to remember, Mind Meld's right now, which is what, 2154 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. 2152. That's the year we're in.
Is it? Okay. So with that, Mind Melds are considered terrible. So this may have been the start that would make something like Spock, somebody who
I agree
is. Yeah.
I agree. But,
it's progression.
I go back to Broken Bow, right away, the Vulcans are being, in their way, intolerant, yes. A little bit hypocritical. This whole series so far.
Actually, if you notice throughout all of Star Trek, every Vulcan except the ones that are main characters are always dicks.
That's true.
So you're right.
That's true. Yep.
It's almost like the human influence. It's, I think, also why this episode is great, because it's got these layers where T'Pol was one of those, but now
she's progressing.
She's out and she's progressed, and this is why maybe Sarek was angry with Spock for joining the humans, right? Like he's leaving the orthodoxy. He's leaving.
Yeah, he's not following the rules, right?
And they know once they're out, they learn different things.
Right.
And
Sarek and Spock are part of the telepathic minority. Then,
yes, that's.
I don't think.
Point. Well, they are, because both of them can mind meld.
I think in a way that all Vulcans can, and I think if we had something between this and original series, they would probably try to explain that.
So because it
does seem like
becomes more accepted later, then maybe they're trained to actually do it and harness it.
You're saying that this is not, but they're saying that there's a genetic predisposition at least.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably a lie, because we do know that Vulcans lie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah,
and
more than we thought, anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Phlox is in this storyline, and they're like, if they know he's bullshitting, right? When they come in, he asks about like, oh, my friend on Denoblia needs it, and they're like, well, on our planet, this disease is very rare, and so anyway, so they're suspicious, and then here, they're Trip's helping install what do you call it?
The neutron microscope.
That's right, the neutron microscope, because Trip can put anything together.
I don't want to brag, but I can take apart and put back together just about any piece of equipment I've ever met.
Do you have the quote where he starts off, "This is a bitch"?
Oh yeah,
this is a bitch.
And she goes, "Excuse me, not you, the microscope."
Not you, the microscope.
I got that the first part.
Even the writing in this episode is pretty good.
Yeah, it's an excellent episode.
Yeah,
this is a 10 all the way.
Oh my god!
Wow, it's a 10.
Woo. Start to finish. Yes, I actually even started wondering, like, with her, what would our society be like if women grew up having no shame around sex? Would they be more like this?
Which is what Denoblians seem to have.
Right.
I'm gonna go with Amsterdam.
Here she goes. You have to insert the thick end into the opening.
Insert the thick end into this opening.
This is such a bad line.
You can pull it out now.
He's like, yeah, you can pull it out now. It's like, wow.
Insert the thick end into this opening.
That line, I guaranteed, was written by some nerd in a basement. Guaranteed.
It was Brandon Braga.
Yeah, he was in his basement, and his wife's cut him off. And,
yeah. That's how it goes. You're gonna
have to help me with this one.
It's very simple.
Thing into the thing. Anyway, so it's just like, totally this episode is so weird emotionally, because you have this funny storyline, like, and then you got this thing with T'Pol, which is so serious and so heavy.
But would this episode be that good if it wasn't for the lighter side?
Like, I think of like the episode like A Measure of the Man, right? Like, you know, the one where Data's on trial and everything. There's no like B storyline where Worf's having like a comedy session with Guinan, right? And then like all of a sudden like there's a serious thing.
Well, A Measure of a Man is a great episode.
But you know,
very
that's a
serious
great point
episode.
though, is that I think Dave, you nailed it though. As far as the writing, could you have spent more time on this storyline with T'Pol and give it more depth and more argument, and just made the point rather than going back and forth?
It also seems like that. It seems like most of the crew doesn't even know what's going on, including Tucker.
Well,
right?
This is a personal matter.
You know, like, how do you keep a secret on a ship this small?
Well, there is something called, you know, confidentiality.
Confidentiality. I know. This it's one of the big concepts.
And I think even
I believe your culture embraces the concept of doctor-patient confidentiality.
I think the two storylines work really well, and I think they are two sides of the same coin.
I'm glad they're both there. I think the awkwardness of the one storyline doesn't really hurt the other storyline. Like, I still look at T'Pol's situation as a very serious situation, but I don't think the Phlox B storyline there really is that Like, it doesn't hurt it. It doesn't take anything away from it, is what I guess.
I think also is that the fact that he's involved in both storylines as well.
Yes, which I like that.
Yeah. And to Paul,
this scene here is one of my favorite ones.
Yeah,
this is a great scene.
I like to Paul also refusing to say that she was that it was involuntary. It shows that she really has gone away from the Vulcans.
Do everything by
she's
the
like,
book.
no, you are wrong about all of these people.
And that's the progression of her story, of her character on this series, right? Like, we've seen that. We've already seen a lot of that. Like, season 1 to Paul is definitely different than season 2 to Paul, for sure.
And season 3, what's coming up? She's
very, very different. So I think she's the one that progresses the most in this entire series.
Sure.
Everybody else just kind of keeps the same for the most part, except for Archer. Archer does too. But.
Yeah, but you know,
do you condone their behavior?
Do you condone their behavior?
And later on in the episode, where she finds out that one of the guys in the party there also has the same thing.
No, he doesn't have the disease.
He can do it. He can
mind meld. So with that, the fact that he can do that and it's a secret still, and she refuses to turn him in I think that's pretty cool too.
I think with Vulcans, it's likely that this ability is kind of atrophied in the population.
Yeah.
And that's why it is forbidden. Because if you use it, you maybe get it back.
Well, it's like the whole X-Men thing, right? Like, it's the same idea where, like, some people have abilities and the general population is against the idea, right? So the Vulcans are very much like, that type of situation.
But in future Trek, it seems to me that all Vulcans can do it.
Yes.
So, well, maybe just all the Vulcans that matter can do it.
Yeah, but if you
see, I get the impression that they train for it.
But like then like Star Trek, the movies with the Katra and all of that stuff, like that is well accepted by everyone.
Yeah,
right.
On Vulcan, so which tells me that all Vulcans can do this.
But they also talk about it being as part of the distant past. Like we haven't tried, like when they brought Spock back into his body, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
yeah. They're like this. We haven't done this in like a long time.
Like a generation. They said,
right. But Sarek, being the ambassador, just doing mind melding, no problem, no.
Yeah, like there's nothing upsetting about it. It's just
right. It just tells me that they can all do it.
And Sarek's from a powerful family too, so he might also have
that. In this time, it's just a repression. It's a form of repression.
But what they're also trying to say, I think, too, is that Vulcan society will come to accept the mind melders, by the time of Spock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So there's going to be a cultural reformation because
basically what I'm saying is all the Vulcans are a little gay.
The Vulcans.
Devin says it's a 10.
The Vulcans are they're hard, they're tough, man. Like with their bowl cuts and their like robes. Sometimes I'm just like, come on.
That guy right there. Like, look at that look. Like it is disdain.
Yeah, and he's really going for it. But they're like, listen, you're a Vulcan. You have no emotions, but you do.
See, I look at the Vulcans in this series like the Romulans in Next Gen. Right, like they're almost the exact same thing. Right?
But you remember Journey to Babel when they introduced Sarek and Amanda?
Yes,
yes.
He was a bit of a,
Yeah, he was a dick.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, all the Vulcans are. Like, even Tuvok is kind of a dick too.
Tuvok's a dick, but I love he's more acceptable, I guess. Yeah.
Star Trek, they always like the Vulcans because of the Vulcans that we like, the ones that are in the stories that are told to us. We love the Vulcans. We think they're great. But then all of these other characters, they're terrible. It's a terrible society to live in.
Yeah.
Yeah, even Star Trek 2009, when they're portraying young Spock growing up.
Right. Yeah, he's getting picked on all the time.
Right. That was accurate.
Yeah. Pardon me?
That was accurate to what Star Trek had portrayed before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The smell must be intolerable.
Yeah, they're not the nicest people. Sorry, guys. Okay, back to the.
Dave just had like a soundboard.
I was just like, I was looking for. Yeah, I was trying to find. Yeah.
Do you condone their behavior?
That's not it.
I like this guy's outfit. Can we go back a frame? No, back one more. Keep going. You had it earlier. There, go back. Yeah. Okay, to the right. I love that uniform. I think it's really well done.
Yeah, it's good.
Got the Vulcan writing. Yeah, they look like Vulcans.
It's classy.
Classy Vulcans being stuck up Vulcans as all. These guys do a great job. But we're going back.
This whole scene with them at the table and almost like they're interrogating each other.
They stole her DNA with the pad because they get her to look at the list, and this is when they steal her DNA so they can.
Which is just horrendous.
How can the Vulcans have this? I thought they were an enlightened society.
It's intrusive. It's awful. I think it's that.
But that goes back to Kevin's point. They're dicks.
In every iteration, we love the Vulcans, but they're dicks.
They're
dicks in DS9. They're dicks all the fucking time.
Yeah,
they're not it's not a great society.
Look, this is when they get it here. Sorry.
What?
No, sorry.
Was that English?
Yeah, I didn't hear what you said.
All I heard was blah, blah, blah.
We take great pride in our ability to contain emotions. Sharing them is offensive.
Right.
Yeah,
there you go.
Mind melts.
Well.
I feel like we've kind of crashed this roller coaster somehow.
Sorry, Jody, get us back on track.
I don't even know what we're doing. All right. Anyway, we're now seeing. Okay, hold on. I don't know what this means. Nerd ducks. All right. Anyway, comment section. Yay! Anyway, so yeah, we apparently I dropped something. Okay. Anyway, wow, this has totally gone off the rails. So they were setting up the microscope, and she's now teaching him how to calibrate it, I guess.
Yeah.
This is a bitch.
This is a bitch.
Not you. The microscope.
Not you though. Microscope.
I love how
she walks in the corner, just like
she's like, "What's going?" He's like, "What's going on with so and so? What's going on with this guy?" Right? Yeah. They're just going through all the different stories of what's going on. Yeah, like this person's mad at this person. Not going to talk to them in a while, right? And but like that's why he's coming off like to Paul's like confidentiality is going off the walls. But like Floxy completely separates his professional life from his personal life, which I commend. But like just like the dichotomy of the episode is the roller coaster I'd like this podcast is going through, Jody. To your point.
You think so, huh?
I think that we're struggling. We're like, should we be serious? Should we be joking? It's hard.
Well, and they do put in the Flox stuff at kind of weird times in the story. But I like it. I like the fact that we're not doing serious the entire episode because it's not the greatest. It's not the greatest thing to have just that A storyline for this entire episode. I think I would be bored at the end of it. Like it's a good story, but well, they're not. No, this is not a serious storyline at all.
I would put to you that this episode proposes a problem and a solution.
Oh, there you go.
The problem is the closed-mindedness of the Vulcans, and the solution is to be a little more open.
Yeah, there you go. I love this scene too, where Archer's like, it's been a while since I've been basically tormented by the Vulcans.
Yeah.
Are you both going to lie to me like you lied to them?
You a bunch of liars. Where you lied to me? He's like, wants to know.
And Kevin, he was in the chair almost the whole time.
He also in this scene doesn't understand that Phlox cannot tell him about T'Pol's medical issues. That is definitely an overstep.
But this is also something that Archer seems to learn through the entire first 2 seasons, because he's constantly asking people to do things that he's not allowed to know, right?
Yeah.
And Phlox keeps telling him, no. Like, just because you're a captain doesn't mean you get to override everything.
I believe your culture embraces the concept of doctor-patient confidentiality.
Yeah, the only thing I have a problem with him about this is that this isn't a new thing. Like, doctor-patient confidentiality has been around for a long time by this point.
No, but Archer's mad because he's been put in this situation, right? So
Right.
he's now, pulling rank kind of thing.
He's blindsided.
But he does ask Phlox, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
Panar syndrome is an illness that carries a stigma on Vulcan.
That's why.
I like the fact that Archer is mad, but he's not like stupid mad.
No.
Like he's angry at this situation, but he's not necessarily angry at these two.
What I also like about Archer in this episode again is he is evolving as a leader, because he is now, really trying to defend her. He sees the value in her, part of his crew, value in her as a first mate.
Yeah.
And just really needs her. And I think he does a great job going down there and taking on the Vulcans. I mean, let's face it, he hasn't had a lot of success doing that.
No.
Well, and they're 3 aliens from 3 different species working together on a ship for the first time, right? So this is also kind of a whole new thing too, right? That they're going.
Well, yeah. The only other episode where I think Archer acts the way he does in this episode is the episode where they find the hidden spy base in the Vulcan monastery. That episode, because at the end of that episode, he's giving everybody guff, right? Like, and it's okay. So.
Yeah. Some serious looks here, eh?
Yeah. Well, that goes along with Jeff Mader's comment of Archer is stupid mad.
He's not stupid mad, you said.
It's kind of stupid,
though. You know how in past episodes he's really he's really the poor me kind of guy, You guys have been treating us bad since, and standing in our way.
You were mean to my dad.
Exactly. He doesn't do that in this episode.
He doesn't pull any of that shit. Yeah.
Yep. You're right.
Yeah.
He goes down and he is the task at hand. He's not like,
yes,
you're a Vulcan and you guys are always like this. He's like, no, this is my first officer. And
he goes down and he sits in this waiting room for, it seems like a long time.
Well, yeah, and then they're like, sorry, we kept you waiting. And he's like, well, you did. Or something like that.
Yeah, they're like, did we keep you waiting? And he's like, yeah.
Well, the other good line is later when they say to him, you're wasting your time. It's mine to waste.
It's mine to waste.
Mine to waste. He just like he's
yeah. It's almost like they figured out how to write Archer in this episode.
Well, they always knew. They're like, if he has a good reason to go at some Vulcans, he will, and that's what he's really good at.
Yeah.
He'd be a great like policeman on Vulcan.
Yeah,
but he'd be like,
he'd be pulling everybody over.
Any Vulcan that steps out of line, he'd be like, I got you. This is Archer. He's gonna fight for T'Pol. Trying to get the information, and then like the looks here. There's some acting looks going on. From the other guy.
This guy, that guy right there. He's definitely been in Star Trek before. I recognize his face, but I don't know who he is.
We'll look him up.
We'll figure it out, I'm sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so then I think T'Pol gets a message that she's been recalled, right? At this point,
yeah,
she's in her robes, trying to look at a candle. She gets called up, and Archer can't do anything about it. She gets called down, but she got a second. No, that's what it was in the robe. She got the secret message from the doctor guy.
Yes,
who called, and then there's it's a secret meeting on the planet. T'Pol's looking down the alleys. It's smoky. She finds Buddy in the corner, and then she sneaks through the slots, and he's got the goods.
He's got a bunch of tubes.
He's got a bunch of tubes. These are just the tubes I was looking for, she says.
He's got a bunch of fuses.
Right, and it also shows like how because we always say that the Vulcans are enlightened, but how enlightened are they when people have to meet in the shadows?
Yeah. I like how they did this. Like they could have did this anyway. He could have just like showed up on the ship and gave her something, but no, they did it like a sneaky kind of way, which I like.
Yeah, that this is like them having to go around. They're kind of rebels, right? There's kind of, I feel like that's what they're trying to establish with this mood and this kind of setting here, and the way they play the scene off, and that they're kind of not with the mainstream of their culture, right? And they have to kind of go outside.
It almost reminds me of the Nazis episode, but we'll get into that later on.
The one that's still to come.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
There's a 2-parter, if I remember.
I think it
was that a season ender?
I think it was. Beginner. Yeah. I don't think it's this season though. I think it's next season. But anyway,
got this scene here with DePaul and not DePaul, sorry, Hoshi and
Hoshi. Yeah.
Hoshi and Trip guys in the cafeteria talking about horror movies, Bela Lugosi, all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure why we needed this scene. I think this was another Mayweather scene.
They're like, we need to throw Hoshi into the episode somewhere. This is where we're going to throw her in.
But I enjoyed Hoshi and Flox's wife talking and bullshit.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, there was that thing where she's like talking into Nobly into her.
Oh, Trip basically begs Hoshi to stay because she doesn't.
Hoshi's like, no.
She does stay.
I love that.
Initially,
she stayed for a minute and then she left. Right.
She got a chance to speak to some Nobly in here, but
because Mrs. Flox embarrassed Hoshi a little bit there,
Right.
Yeah, which I liked as well. The one thing I do like, and I don't know who the actress is that plays the female Nobly then, but she has the exact same mannerisms as Flox does.
Yes.
Which leads me to believe that their entire race acts the exact same way.
But she's the second Denoblian, so they have to kind of establish what is this a cultural thing,
or is the second Denoblian we've ever seen?
Or personality thing specific to Flox, right?
Yeah.
It's when you're the first person to play that species.
And great performance from a great guest star.
What's her
Jeff
name?
says the Vulcans are shady.
Absolutely.
Melinda Page Hamilton plays
Melinda Page Hamilton. Okay.
Anyway, she's going with the footsies, guys.
Yeah. At this point, though, I'm like, maybe she's just fucking with him. Like, it's almost like this is just for fun. Because it's kind of a weird thing how, like, obviously she's, basically Flox implies that she's in heat, basically. But
is he?
Yeah, there's this scene later on that he says something that's kind of weird, but I can't remember exactly what it was. But is she screwing around with him at this point?
No,
because she's screwing around with Hoshi. She's like saying stuff to make her embarrassed, and then she's now screwing with him. So is she just having fun?
I think she's having fun for sure.
I think he's having fun.
She wants to have more fun.
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, it seems like it's going to happen. And then, no, he's like, he's signing this. Gets out of there. But she feels like she's getting close. It's like she's okay with this hard to get thing a little bit.
What always interests me is that all Star Trek characters can mate.
Not all of them. They said, the EMH on Voyager said, if you get together with a Bolian, you have to seek medical expertise first.
That's true.
They never said, because there's some things.
And here's Reed's one scene.
Reed in the exercise room. This is where they come out to work out on the bikes.
Yeah, and then he's again giving great advice. Don't talk to the doctor. Don't talk to her husband. Have you ever seen the doctor mad?
Yeah. You don't want to see him mad.
Oh
I saw him mad with one of his animals once.
Reese's definitely replays Archer as my least favorite.
Yeah. I'm hating Reed more than Archer
right
now.
Yeah.
Reese is from Aliens.
Yeah, I know. As I see my poster right there.
Yeah. Anyway, it's okay. It's forgiven because it's such a good.
I think this is when she's been recalled here, and she's gonna she has to go back with the Vulcans.
Yeah.
So I find that very interesting too. Is that he didn't have to check in with the high command. He as a member of the Vulcan Medical Council can just bring her back.
Yeah, he has a lot of power.
Well, in a way, though, that makes sense because, like, for instance, on a standard military ship nowadays, doctors can outweigh any captain on board. So if it comes to a medical emergency, So because this is considered medical, basically they have the complete power to do that, which makes sense from a military standpoint. So.
And this is in this whole scene here in the sick bay with Archer and Phlox and T'Pol. She gives her like where he's like, you should just tell them that this was forced on you, that this was involuntary, and because then they'll have compassion. She says no.
I have Pinar syndrome. Doesn't make a difference how I contracted it. If I use that as a defense, as a way to keep from being taken off Enterprise, I'd be condoning their prejudice, and in the process, indicting every member of the minority. I won't do that.
No, she won't do it.
It's quite a
and that right there shows me that she's literally the best character on the show. Because
this is her big moment, you know.
Yeah, she's at that point now where she's defying things.
Question: Season 1, Episode 1. Would she have done that?
No.
She's a different Vulcan.
She's been influenced at this point. Yeah, she's learned that there's alternate ways to do things.
It's almost like she's been through an enlightenment.
Indeed.
Yeah, she's changing. She's getting, you know. But
well, Archer is too. Archer was like, "Fuck you, T'Pol." For like,
he was ready to kick her off in a day. He resented her, but now he's
like fighting for her.
Yeah, he's going around. He was like, "Are you who do I got to go for here?" Right? Yeah. And they're like, you know, they're saying not open to debate.
Where I come from, everything's open for debate.
Everything's open for debate.
Yeah.
Oh, you be messing with me.
That's why this episode is so good. It even has like those religious overtones.
Yeah.
Where it's again orthodoxy versus debate and real enlightenment.
Right. And like Archer's got the moral high ground on these Vulcans who are supposed to be like this advanced alien culture compared to humans.
Like when you think about pure like logic, you know, prejudice is not logical.
No.
You know, it really pokes a hole in their belief system as well.
Right. Well, they're clearly not being logical. Like they're succumbing to some kind of emotional fear.
Yes. Right.
Of course, look how fearful and angry they all are.
Yeah.
Right. You know, good thing they're not Romulans. They'd be killing them by now. Like, they'd be like, screw you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
The ship would be in like 20 pieces at this point if it was wrong.
Hasn't this guy Mayweather hurt himself another way, like doing some kind of
always?
It's just a show the running
joke. Yeah.
It's I'm pretty sure like 40% of his scenes are getting fixed up in sick bay.
Yeah, he literally lives in sick bay. It's like he's fallen off of a mountain. He fell off of a mountain, and then he also like got stabbed or something once.
They don't even have holodecks to get hurt in. Like he's just walking around the ship getting hurt.
Like at least
he was playing the game. He was playing
when people in Next Gen were getting hurt. It was always on the holodeck. Like they were never hurt in the field for the most part. Well, the occasional time it would happen. So, but
yeah, this episode really is a Phlox episode if you think about it.
It is. Yeah, it's very much
Phlox and T'Pol.
And T'Pol.
Even Archer has some pretty interesting.
He's in it quite a bit, but like Phlox is like he has this one random scene here with Mayweather, where Mayweather's like telling him about
it's the Dickendi's favorite sport. They got these Fargans. They're kind of like.
Let me ask this, okay, Kevin?
Yes,
we brought you on this series because we wanted to get you involved in Enterprise, and you were going to try to evaluate and stuff like that. If this was your first impression of Archer, would you have liked the character?
Much more than I do, yes.
Yeah.
This is good. He's good in this.
Which goes to show you that the writing is pretty
layers. He's got he's good in this.
Yeah.
He's not just a whiny stomp my feet child.
And that's the progression he has. Yeah.
He is though, but he does it in the name of good in this episode.
No, but in this he's got some gravitas. He's not stomping his feet like a child.
No,
he is looking at them as an equal and saying, no, this is wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong.
It's very different than
humans standing up to Vulcans is a big deal too, right? Like
yes.
Yeah. Get lost, kid.
Go back to the sweet spot, you know, just get out of here.
You got your one scene in this episode, Anthony. You're out of here. All right. Send the other. All right.
Sorry, kids interrupting me.
Yeah. So this is where Trip goes to tell Phlox about the whole thing with his wife, right? And he's like, "Oh, how's she Where is it here?
Absolutely.
She offered to give you a rose petal bath.
She's making advances, if you know what I mean.
Sexual advances.
Sexual advances.
It's such a creepy line, but it's amazing.
But I loved it.
He does a great job with it. When he says the rose petals, though, it reminds me of another character, and I don't know what it is. I can't.
No jealousy, nothing like that. He's just like,
because that's not their society.
He's just like, oh, you are going to have a great time.
Whoa, wait until you see what she does with her tongue. You know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, he's happy. He wants this to happen.
Yeah, he's like, finally, I'll have someone to talk to. About
he's like, I'm really proud of her.
Yeah, he hasn't seen her in 4 years. It's like kind of like this thing, right?
Well, and they even said that when he first sees her, right? Like they're like, we should.
What's another day? What's another day?
Like, what's another day? I've been without her for 4 years. It's fine.
Telobulums are renowned for their patience.
Yeah. I love this exchange.
Nonsense. We're too concerned with human morality. I thought you wanted to learn about new cultures. Isn't that why you joined Starfleet?
Well, of course it is. But I was brought up believing you don't play around with another man's wife. I don't think I'm ever going to change my mind about that.
As you wish. Your laws.
But in a way, that's also
I like that Phlox doesn't push him. He's just like, okay, your loss. That's it.
Yeah, which is
but I think that Phlox, out of anybody, understands the difference in culture. But he has evolved. This guy, he gets what makes humans work. He understands what makes Vulcans work. He's very well rounded, this character.
Yes, Phlox is probably he's in my top 5 of Star Trek characters overall.
I would venture to say that Phlox is much more logical than any Vulcan.
Yes,
probably is.
Yeah,
and
I would agree.
Yeah.
The most balanced. He's the most balanced of any character on the show.
I think he's the best. Like he's what a doctor should be.
Yes.
Non-judgmental.
Correct.
Non-judgmental.
And
not McCoy.
Yeah.
He's very different. He's very different than a McCoy type. He's very different than any of the other Starfleet doctors, really. Or
imagine if McCoy was in this situation.
Well, but he's not a Starfleet doctor. That's the point.
That's the distinction as well. He's a separate. He's a Noblean doctor, a civilian doctor.
He's on an exchange, yeah. Well, right. He's basically on an exchange, yeah.
But he's basically with the crew. He's a member of the crew for all intents and purposes. So
he has no formal rank, though.
Sure, but I don't think he had the Starfleet training with that, right?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Well, he was serving in Starfleet prior to being on this ship, so it would make sense. He was part of the medical exchange, right?
He's outside of the chain of command for sure, but he's part of the mission.
But he still has the power to override the captain.
Mm-hmm.
In medical matters.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the scene here with T'Pol and Art. She's packing her bags.
I like how minimalistic this is too, because she's a Vulcan but yet has nothing, which makes perfect sense. So she literally has she can fit everything in one suitcase. It's
got a few pencil cases.
She's lived on this thing for a year and a half, but this is it.
She's got her candle and her uniform.
Candles.
And she's wearing her suit, so
she's got her 3 outfits she's got.
Yeah.
Couple candles, lighters for candles. But anyway, Archer shows up and he's like, you got to fight. You got to fight for these people. Where we're going here, right? Like, you said you cared about these people. I like what his line is here. Here we go.
The least you can do is speak for this minority you're so eager to protect. You said you didn't want to condone the attitude of these doctors. Your silence would do just that.
Silence is violence, guys. So, you can't.
One of the most sensible things that Archer has ever said in this series.
It's a really good line to give him here. Yeah, it's a good message.
It almost doesn't fit his character.
It seems it's almost out of character that he's the one thinking of this before her.
Yeah,
that's why it's.
I just noticed Kevin's gone.
But that's the beauty of writing. Sometimes you can transpose those things. Yeah, Kevin will be back though.
Oh, okay. I was like, where did Kevin go? All I see is a Care Bear.
But you know what about this Archer though is, again, it shows really strong leadership. It shows that you care about your people and will do anything to fight for them. I think it's a fantastic episode for that.
Yeah, for sure.
This paints Archer in a way that he should be. which is, I think, the goal.
Back to this 3D render model of a upscale
2003
a convention center rendering from like some firm.
I think it's great.
It's great.
That was CG'd on like a Pentium 4, dude. Like, what do you want?
A Pentium 4.
I want to comment on it. That's all.
Give me a great story, and I will let you do the worst CGI ever.
Some of the best scenes in the original series were done with very terrible special.
You should see the effects on Babylon 5. Then there's some good stuff there.
No,
I never will.
Remember the projectile vomit, or that little piece of what was that episode where Sam Kirk died?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a good example.
The rubber vomit guys.
The rubber vomit.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got the hearing guys with Archer and T'Pol.
A useless hearing, but a hearing nonetheless.
It's just kind of like a discussion, really.
Yeah,
between 5 people.
Well, Archer figures out that their medical laws basically say that they have to have some sort of arbitration if asked. So this is what he's doing, but yet it does nothing. They're so set on their ways.
You're going against fundamentalists, and it's never going to change. It's
he loves this though. He's just like, I've been hearing it my whole life.
You humans are too volatile, too irrational, too narrow-minded. That's what I heard for years from every Vulcan I met. But we don't hold a candle to you when it comes to narrow-minded.
He had to use the reference a candle because it's the only thing they would understand.
And he's not sitting in the chair for one more second. Don't you forget. He's standing up and walking down the room.
I'm up now, bitch. I'm gonna talk.
Yeah. You thought this hearing was gonna be us all sitting down? No way.
No, that's not how Archer does things. Here's me walking while I'm talking.
I'm standing. I'm talking with T'Pol.
And yet I'm still not irritated by this scene.
No, it all works really well. The speech. I like how here he calls them. You got us on the big.
We got rid of bigotry nearly a century ago. We're not afraid of diversity. We don't persecute it. We embrace it. If you call yourselves enlightened, you have to accept people who are different than you are.
It's a pretty easy message. Yeah. It all works really well. And then this is when this guy speaks out,
Are you questioning our judgment? There is nothing abhorrent about the way we lead our lives. There is no simple definition of intimacy. Those of us capable of mind melds are no different than you are. We share our thoughts differently. We shouldn't be punished for that.
It's pretty on the nose as a metaphor to with the AIDS and gay and HIV and everything from the 80s, but it works really well.
Well, if you think about this, was in 2003,
but it's meant to be that. It's meant to be.
It's like the difference between now versus 2003 with HIV, for instance.
Right.
Listen, do you guys remember when Freddie Mercury died?
Yes.
Yep.
And
vaguely.
I was in high school, but yeah.
Sure, but I remember when that happened, the outrageous comments about that he deserved it and all this nonsense. Like, that was 20 years ago. Like, not that long ago, or 30 years ago, I guess, but not long ago.
Close to 30,
No, that's true. And like when they did they had the guy was black on one side and white on the right side, and then the vice versa. That was pretty much a very spot on metaphor. And I feel like that's very much the kind of episode they're going for here, which is a memorable episode. There was the Next Gen had a bunch of these too, and it's good. It's good to have these in the series.
This actually, I thought that this fits as a Next Gen episode really well. Like this, this reminds me of a Next Gen episode.
Right. This is Berman and Braga trying to get back. I think let's get back to what we used to do really well on Next Gen together, like these kind of morality tales.
The only thing that's missing is a very long-winded speech.
Yes.
There was a whole bunch of them, really, if you think about it.
No, they weren't that long-winded, though.
That's okay. It worked.
Yeah.
It did work.
Sorry, guys. The reason I wanted to link Freddie Mercury to this is just that was 91. It wasn't that far off from this time frame itself.
Right. Was it about 20 years before?
No. He died in 91.
20 years?
91. And this was in 2003, so that would have been 12 years.
Did he die in 91?
I would say
something
probably,
like
because
that.
I was in high school then.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. But regardless, I mean, it's somebody so popular that you got my point. You got my point.
Yeah, the point is still totally valid.
Yeah,
not much changed between 91 and 2002. All the change that we sort of
November
now
91 he died.
has only been the last maybe 15, maybe 20 years.
And does everyone respect to Paul more for she was standing up for this? Like she didn't want to reveal that this has been forced upon her in the first place, and that
I already respect the character more now than I did when we first met her.
Yeah.
But this definitely is, these are points in the good.
And they're like, why didn't you tell us? And she gets them.
Why? So you can perpetuate your double standard, condemn the infected when they meld by choice, and sympathize with them when they don't.
That's the whole thing with, I mean, you see that in the movie in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
When that guy is like, I don't have anything against people who got this through a transfusion. And the implication of that is that he does think that people got it through sex deserve to die.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's right on the nose with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real dark, but
really
very
dark.
much a reality of how a lot of people felt about it. Maybe still do, I don't know, but like it's really wrong, right? Of course, and like that's the what the episode's getting to. But back to the comedy. Let's get back to this French bedroom farce angle just to lighten the mood, and you got a little goodbye to the wife here with the smelling, guys. Kevin's favorite.
Look at Trip. He's like,
I like it. Trip's like, I'm not in this three-way.
I'm not in this. They wanted me to.
Don't invite me. I'm not coming.
I may find this sniffing disgusting, but if one of them got a disease from it, they would be worthy of treatment.
Yeah, his looks here are funny. He's playing the scene.
She does such a great job, though, of doing the same mannerisms.
This woman has, I just looked her up. She has been on so much TV over the decades.
Oh, okay.
Born in 1974, but she's been on Mad Men. She was in Star Trek, just the one episode though. She should have been in more. She was fantastic, but she's been in a ton of stuff.
Oh yeah.
You mean she doesn't come back? That's
No.
Unfortunate.
No. We meet another one of Phlox's wives later.
The other wife comes back, or comes
Another
in.
one, yeah. Well,
So
he
it's
has
three of them?
4, I think.
Three. I think
Three.
he has
Three?
Three's the max.
Yeah, because I think we meet the other one in season 4, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, so he's like, I wish you guys have gotten together. You'll have to visit more often. And then he gets out here, and then they do the whole
Humans.
Those humans.
But doesn't that make
you were
you think?
practically giving it away, and he wouldn't take it? What an idiot!
Yeah, but doesn't that make you think it was a whole hoax though too? Because
Well,
we
and
made it
that's
feel
where I get the point of maybe she was just fucking with him the whole time. Like,
No, I feel like she would have gone through with it.
No,
I don't think she's mean. That would just be mean, right? Like,
yeah, no, I agree, but they don't care either way. They're like, if he doesn't go for it, it's funny, and if he does, whatever, it's good for you. Win-win. I think that's what they're.
well, it's a stigma of a different type.
Yeah, no, they got their culture's different, and and that's fine with Trip, but he's not in for it. Like, does he necessarily?
Then you got Archer looking at windows.
You can appreciate the Klingon culture, but without embracing it and wanting to be like a warrior yourself.
you don't have to kill your brother to
respect
to appreciate Klingon culture.
Right.
You can acknowledge that the Klingons are an excellent character, just Worf isn't.
Worf's a great character, one of the best.
Hey Kevin, did you like this ending?
I don't remember actually.
It was a little anticlimactic to me, but maybe that was meant to be that way.
Oh no, I did like it. I did like it because she said she was going to fight for the Doctor, and he was like, "Of course." So I like that part of it. Yeah, a little anticlimactic.
That he lost his medical license. That he was going to be
I think based on the subject matter, though, I think it was probably a good way to end it.
Yeah, you had the laugh, I guess, from Phlox and his wife.
Yeah, you had to have the laugh, and then you kind of had to have the consequences of what happened through the episode, right? Which we find out that he's been, he lost his license, and all that stuff.
To me, at least it was an end.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, Enterprise likes to not end things.
Yeah,
but
well, it says
properly anyway.
Like Next Generation heavy episodes, they also ended on a very, like this. Like,
well, it's not. It doesn't. They don't quite resolve it because we just hope that other people are going to speak out, and let's hope so. It's
you
like
also have to remember this is something that comes up over and over and over again later on with T'Pol. She actually gets cured of it eventually.
Yeah.
But she gets cured of it in season 4. So it's, she goes all through the next season as well with it. And it does come up again. It doesn't come up like this, but it does come up. So
it's like and there's a win. T'Pol didn't get recalled. She's still with the crew.
Yeah.
But it's on a sour note.
Yeah, it's a win, but it's not a good win. It's we got her, but she's still going to be prosecuted.
It's a Pyrrhic victory, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I think that's it.
That's the end of my screenshots for sure.
All right.
Fun facts.
Fun facts with Adam.
Yeah, I've got some. Just wondered though, before if Sam's still on, just let us know, Sam. Then I can tell you my 5 favorite Gilligan's Islands episodes.
Oh yeah, they was asking you save it for fun. Save it for fun facts. This is where Kevin, or this is where Adam.
All right,
also
Sam. We had to leave it to the end because we have to get those viewers.
And what is everyone's favorite comic book series? Here's a question for everybody.
Right.
All right. Well, let's do the fun facts and then we'll hit.
Mine is Spider-Man.
Okay, so Rick Berman in this episode was talking about. They didn't actually say that they liked us to come up with a storyline. They invited us to a presentation that they had, and I think he's talking about Viacom, which was quite impressive. They asked all the producers on the lot to attend, which Brandon and I did. The episode depicts a Vulcan physicians as willing. He's talking about the episode as unwilling to supply research, medicine, or prevention efforts in order to stop the spread of a disease simply because they don't condone the behavior of this Vulcan subset. Many in today's society believe that the kind of intolerance and ignorance that allows HIV and the AIDS epidemic to spread. In this case, the people were genetically capable of performing mind melds. This is all something that would be very different in the age of Picard and Kirk. But in our century, there's definitely a stigma against people who go against normal norms and policies, and in this very emotional and intimate act of mind meld. And Bragan went on to remark, we're not here to provide the answers to the questions. We're here to provoke thought about an issue. And to me, that Star Trek, that's, Gene Roddenberry.
That should be the way it should be done. Yeah. With Star Trek.
The episode, he goes on to say, this episode stands on its own. Even if you don't draw an analogy, there's still an interesting episode because it deals with general prejudices. The metaphor will be clear to a lot of people. We didn't have to go too far to figure it out, but
no.
It's still a great episode. Some critics, such as John Rich from the Boston Herald, in an article, felt this episode was too vague in dealing with a prejudice based on sexual orientation.
No,
I wouldn't agree with that
statement.
It was
in your face, blunt.
Yeah, it was not guilty of being too vague.
I didn't read about it before I watched it. As I was watching it, I'm like, oh, I know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
this isn't a hard one to figure out.
I think that what Discovery's doing now is very in your face.
I'd say that was a step. I
think they're the opposite. I think they're going too far in your face.
Well,
right. I feel like that's like you need to be a little bit more subtle in the storytelling. I feel like this is more the right balance. While still making it about this science fiction thing, like these are aliens, and this is not directly about humanity, but just about morality in general.
I agree with that, though. I agree with what you just said there, Dave. I think you're totally spot on there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, one of the written languages that's seen on Dikendi 3 is a reuse of the Vidian, written language from Star Trek Voyager. Another language seen on some of the banners in the conference center was the Andorian language developed for Star Trek RPG supplement among the clans from the Unicorn Games. Huh.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. I know what they're talking about.
Andorians.
Yeah. The Dikendi ship that carried one of Phlox's wives was previously seen as a Ferengi vessel in Acquisition.
Oh, I never caught that.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
The Vulcan pad is a reuse of the Bajoran pad.
That
the scanner is a modified modern-day computer scanner. T'Pol's illness is not cured for another 2 seasons until season 4. And this episode marks the first appearance of Denobulans other than Phlox on the series.
on any Star Trek series, because the Denoblians are
they're not in the. They've been in Lower Decks a little bit, but that's about it.
Yeah, but that's later, right?
Is that the final fun fact?
Last one is this is the third exhibit of the Denobulan Super Smile. This is the third time, and I don't remember the second.
It's so creepy every time I see it, but I love it.
I
like it.
It's the second one.
It's distinct, you know. Let's figure it out.
I don't
look at Archer's face though. Archer's just like, that's a hell of a smile she's got there.
Yeah. Those Denoblians. But
like, I know about these Denoblians.
Yeah.
So when's the second time? I remember the first episode when Phlox smiles, right?
I don't remember the second one.
I want to say it's the episode where Phlox is really tired, and he's trying to do the.
Oh right.
He's trying to do the he's trying to do his little hibernation thing, and they keep waking him up. Yeah.
Hey guys, we're in ratings.
We are in ratings. Yeah.
Let's start with you, Jody. What do you give this?
You know what? I was coming into this with a solid 9, but based on the way you guys have been talking about this, I'm going to give it a 10. I think going
all the way to 10.
Kevin probably put it exactly, which is this is exactly what Star Trek should be. Like this is a nice, good example of Star Trek, classic good Star Trek. Yeah,
Adam.
Okay, so I'm not giving it a 10, and the reason is, and I'm sure they could have done it another way, because they needed Trip in this episode. 100% get that, but why does Trip have to fix everything?
That's how he got the mission. He said, like, Captain Archer brought me on the mission because of this.
Yeah, because I'm really good at reading instructions.
Right. So I just everything he has to do, everything he has to fix. He's got.
It is stupid, but I'm not going to kill it for that.
Yeah. I'm not killing it. I'm giving it a 9.
He's going to 9.
That's
okay.
Fine.
I'm in high 8s. I think like 8.8. I'll go up there for this one. Kevin, 10.
Obviously a 10, yeah. I think this is pretty damn close to that Deep Space Nine where O'Brien tries to kill himself. I think it's a really good episode.
That's a great episode.
You think it's on that level?
Yeah. It has something to say.
Hard time.
It's got something to say and it does it right. Yeah. Is
I
this
do.
the highest rated episode by us?
It's up there.
9.6, quite possibly.
9.5. I think it actually is.
It
now.
is.
It now might be the highest up.
Yeah, because 9.5 I think was the highest previously.
I don't know. Okay, we'll figure this out later. But yes, it looks like
9.6. Yeah, it is the highest now.
Overall, this is well above the average, and overall, we've been down on this season overall. But this
because it's been bad.
It has been bad. It's not a good season.
Well, yeah,
but the next episode's even better, Dave.
Clearly, they can make a good episode. So why don't they do that every week?
Well, no show does it every week.
Yeah, name one show that's done an entire perfect season.
That's why Netflix went to, and shows like that went
Strange New Worlds
went to 10 Strange New Worlds. That's the same thing.
I can still come up with an episode that is shitty.
They just make 10 episodes, right? Versus back then it was 25. What is it? 25 episodes a season. So they just had the machine had to go harder.
And you're also not really comparing, apples to oranges here. Well, actually, you are in this scenario. Because 10 episodes of Strange New Worlds versus 26 of Enterprise, they're gonna have more shitty episodes.
and you can tell this is a great episode because we all had a lot to say.
Yes. Usually we're like, so then that happened. All right, cool.
Yeah,
it's one of those things.
What's the next episode, Jody?
The next episode is one of my favorites. This is Ceasefire is the next episode. And Ceasefire is basically Archer is called in to mediate a territorial dispute between the Vulcans and the Andorians. So this one has two characters that I love. Well, one's the actress and one's a character. Sharan obviously is in this episode because if Andoria is in there, Sharan's in there, and I love Sharan.
We love Jeffrey Combs. The guy's awesome.
Jeffrey Combs is amazing. Yeah. But it also has the girl who played Worf's girlfriend or whatever.
Kalar?
Kalar.
Yeah, Kalar. Yeah.
Dr. Solar.
Dr. Solar as well. Yeah. So,
she was also Q's wife.
Yes. Yeah. She was the female Q. Yeah.
In Voyager.
Yeah. I love her.
She had one more role in Next Gen too. Can't remember what it was though.
She was the Vulcan. Vulcan in the Schizoid Man or whatever. Schizoid Man or whatever.
Schizoid Man?
Schizoid Man, that's what. Yeah.
Schizoid Man.
I've never been able to say that. But yeah, she was a Vulcan doctor in that as well. So, but yeah, overall, I think great episode. This episode coming up, I think you guys will enjoy as well. It's a fun episode.
Ceasefire.
Yeah, it's a lot of Archer being mad, but that's kind of what every episode of Enterprise is.
Vulcans and Andorians going at it. Okay, so more Vulcan tension. Okay, so this is
Vulcan tension, but then you got the cool Jeffrey Combs stuff in there, which is
Jeffrey
always
Combs.
If he shows up, you automatically got to give it at least a 5. Like that's just
he's pretty good. I was just speaking of which, tomorrow on D Space 9 at 9ish, we're talking about Call to Arms, the season 5 finale of D Space 9. From 1997. I was already watching it tonight. Wow, what an episode. What a finale from that season 5. Maybe one of the most exciting episodes ever in a lot of ways. Because at the end, you just see like this huge armada of ships.
Yeah.
Like, you know, all these like never before done on.
This is the height of the Dominion War, basically.
Yes, it's the beginning.
It's the very beginning. It's the very beginning of the Dominion War. It was like the idea of doing that on a television show at that time was like.
I remember seeing this when it aired, and it was like, oh wow,
yeah, it had never been done before. Because you look at like those early Next Gen episodes, like they're lucky if they show the Enterprise like firing a
the
phaser,
battle
right?
of 359 and Wolf 359 and all that was.
You get a little bit, but not as much as you could do today.
The armada that you see in that episode is insane.
Yeah, the first time they ever really because back then it was all models, it wasn't CGI, right? And so that was like kind of a whole thing. Anyway, so that's tomorrow on D Space 9 and 9. Finally getting to the end of season 5, head into season 6, the Dominion War.
There's
and
7 seasons in.
7 seasons. Season 6, I like mostly, but season 7, we'll get there. But,
unfortunately, you got to end on a sour note.
It's not. It's not. It's
season 7 is pretty good, even though Ezri isn't a bad character, but they focus on her too much in season 7.
Yeah, she takes up
and that's one of the biggest problems I have with season 7.
Like, don't introduce us to this new character at the end of the show.
Yeah. Well, they kind of didn't have a choice, but.
And then on Thursday, we're talking Star Trek Lower Decks. Season.
I still haven't seen anything of season 3 yet.
Pretty good so far. I'm liking it. This new one's called Mining the Mind's Mines. Don't know what that means yet, but we're gonna find out on Thursday. I'll be talking about that with Murphy and Davin Scalehorn over there. On Thursday, and then we got Star Trek Radio Theater guys coming up in 2 weeks.
Ooh,
still to be fully cast, but probably gonna be recorded on
which episode 17th. Are you doing?
We're doing the Space Hippies episode.
Oh,
Jody.
I'm out.
No,
you don't want me there.
Looking for the good land, going astray.
Is that? Have you decided? Is that going to be Davin?
That's Davin.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to be Davin. It's the only person that can play guitar.
Right, and sing and go along. He's gonna have to learn all these songs. It's gonna be great. So
it's gonna be terrible.
It's gonna be
like the episode.
Yeah. So we're Murphy. I think is gonna be in that one too.
Oh,
so nice. We got some. It's gonna be. We're figuring out the
new players and some old players. There.
Ashley can't make it, so we might need someone else to narrate it. So we're figuring that part out too. So lots going on here on Live Long and Podcast. Also check out Locutors of Track. Everything Davin and Dave doing over there, having discussions, having debates, different things. I was going to be on their show yesterday, but it fell through. I don't know what's going on. But Davin was, and I thought he was going to be here tonight, but he wasn't able to make it. But check out Davin's podcast.
They got a weird schedule over there.
Yeah, it's he's in and out. It's all good. And then they got X-Men the animated series review show X-rated. Him and Andre every Tuesday. I think they're wrapped up season 3. They're somewhere.
Which actually reminds me, we didn't answer this question.
What's your
favorite comic book series?
I said Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. All right.
I don't really have a favorite comic book series.
I'm gonna do Uncanny X-Men. I like the original X-Men stuff.
I'm not into superheroes, so I'm not really.
Well, it'd probably be Batman for you if it was anybody.
Everyone should read Mouse.
Mouse is awesome.
Fucking awesome.
Disturbing, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Many layers.
What about you, Adam?
Story.
You dabble in comic books at all?
I do. I Spider-Man I like a lot. I like there was one from the late 80s called The Question. I thought it was fantastic.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
Fun fact about Mouse, only graphic novel to ever win the Pulitzer Prize.
Yep.
Really?
It was also banned for a very long time from a lot of school systems. So, and then they finally released it because it actually makes more sense to let people read that. So, but anyway, and I guess we're not going to answer the other question that Sam had because Sam doesn't seem to be joining us anymore today.
Well,
so
I've got his answers when he's back. So
all right, so you hold on to them, and we'll make sure he's around. But we have to tell him he has to stick to the end of the episode. We're not just going to cut the episode for Gilligan's Island.
Yes. Also, check out Trivial Debates coming up on September 18th, 2022. We got Davin Skellhorn hosting with Chris Seymour, Eamon Mater, and Mott Tyrell competing.
I am definitely going to watch this, but I'm not going to watch it for the reason why you think I'm going to watch it.
Oh, my word.
This is going to be a shit show. I can't wait.
This will be something, guys.
This is going to be a shit show. I love it.
All right, so
this is going to be probably the most entertaining episode.
Yeah, get ready.
Yeah,
that's coming up. That's the day after the radio theater. We're doing that, and then Super Mario Brothers podcasting when people show up is also on intermittently. Big Brother Survivor.
Too busy doing something other than that.
Things happening. Who knows? We don't have as many correspondents like we do on Live Long and Podcast for that.
That's true.
That
we have a nice little rotation here.
Yeah, like we can fill in over here, but over on Super Mario Brothers, it's a leaner crew. So
also, it seems when one of us isn't going to make it, we like say that we're not going to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. I got some great sound clips from last episode. We could catch up. Yeah, it's all great.
Sounds good. So. All right. Well, I think we need to put the nail in the coffin, so to speak, on this one. I think we're done. Great episode.
All right.
Looking forward to next week's episode. I think you guys will enjoy it.
I'm looking forward to it. Let's hopefully we can get. I know season 3 is gonna be really good. So
season 3 is awesome.
The more good episodes we can get from between here and there, the better it's gonna be. It's a long road getting from there to here, as they say.
It is.
We have 11 more episodes in this season alone. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, in this season alone. Like they used to have to make a lot, and they've really
26 episodes per season for this one.
I know this one's dragging a little bit.
It's gonna take us to like November to get done. Oh my goodness.
Well, we're going. Here we go. All right. We'll see you guys next time. All right. See you next Live Long Podcast.
She offered to give you a rose petal bath.
Rose